Welcome to the 9th Annual CTV Summer Youth Experience. I'm your host, Ryan Brown Covington.
And I am Bryce Odom, and this is
Change the Game.
Throughout the summer, we've worked really hard to bring you this amazing show. Change the Game will showcase issues we feel are important, all the fun challenges we've completed, and the amazing trips we've taken. Now let's change the game.
As teenagers, we literally live our lives on social media. I know I do.
But what happens when after years of posting and retweeting all kinds of stuff, you try to get a job?
Our first segment is called To Tweet or Not to Tweet. Here we will show you what can happen when you're not careful for when tweeting or posting and how it could possibly affect your ability to get a job down the road.
Hi, I'm Omar Kala. I'm here for the interview with Miss Day.
1 second. Hi, Miss Day. Mr. Kava's here for the interview. Okay, I'll send him right back. She's ready for you.
Thank you.
Come on in.
Oh,
Please have a seat.
thank you. Good morning, Miss Day. And how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Oh, I'm fine. All right, my resume.
Okay, I'm going to be looking at your resume.
It's fine.
So, why do you want to work for you?
I would like to have some experience regarding television production.
And what do you do in your free time?
Oh, I spend most of my time on the internet.
It's funny you say that because I was looking at your Twitter, and it seems like you like to retweet inappropriate material. And I also see that you like to fight back and forth with people on the internet, and don't even get me started on your Google search history.
Well, you see, what happened
No.
was...
What's going to happen is that I'm not going to hire you because we do not tolerate this at CTV.
But...
No buts. Now please leave my office.
Man, I could have got that job if I hadn't posted that tweet. So stupid.
Protecting your social media image is just as important as protecting your identity. As young people, we spend a majority of our day on social media. We snap, we tweet, and IG, but we don't realize that like all actions, this too has consequences, and what we post can come back to bite us. Even if we delete it from our device, it's still floating out there in cyberspace. We spoke to Rodney Gaines of DC Employment Services, and here's what he had to say.
You're looking for a job or trying to go to college. I had a buddy of mine who has Facebook account, and he doesn't, really put anything crazy out there, just his family stuff and outings. But when he was applying for jobs, he closed his account just so there's nothing out there. Of him maybe at a social event with a drink in his hand. He didn't want anything out there like that. So he shut down his social media accounts. But again, people have to be extremely, extremely careful because a lot of times young people just kind of put it out there. And it's for their friends and it's fun, but other people see it as well. And not only that, when you're on the job, you have to be careful about what you post because there are some jobs where you cannot post, what you're doing at work on the job. Prime example, I know a young lady who works with, actually two young ladies, they work with children with special needs. So in their company policy, they can't, post any pictures of them with their clients or, talk about their clients in any form or fashion. Because if they do, they will get terminated. So again, social media, I think is a great tool, but it can be detriment to your career.
I never knew that what I post on social media today can hurt me in the long run.
Let's take a quick break. We'll be right back, but don't change the channel. Coming up is part 1 and 2 of our 4-part series, Consequences.
It's an anti-beat.
2.5 million people are involved in road accidents. 64% of them involve phones. Don't let the phone get in the way. It can wait. Stop texting and driving.
Did you see that girl walk into our building this morning? She looked a mess, and she was coming in for an interview. What job did she think she was getting?
She should have watched our segment about the importance of making a positive first impression.
It's the dream.
This is Omar Kaba from CTV Summer Youth Experience. I'm here with Mr. Gaines of the DC Department of Employment Services. Now, on to our first question. Why is it important to make a positive first impression?
Well, I think it's extremely important because, and it depends on the environment that you're in. I work primarily with young people, and I do a lot of workforce development. So when you talk about first impressions, that's what the employer is going to see. So again, you want to start off on a good foot to, again, make a good first impression so you'll have the opportunity to really sell yourself to get that job or the training opportunity that you're trying to pursue.
What goes through your mind when you're interviewing someone and they're not just prepped properly, they're not prepared? What goes through your mind when that happens?
And I've done a lot of interviews, particularly mock interviews. So I tell my young people, what to dress, how they should look. And so, again, coming from the employer's perspective, not just me, but a lot of employers that I talk to, a lot of them, they tend to get distracted because, again, that's the first thing that they notice is the way that you look. Before you even open your mouth, when you walk in the door, there's that visual connection. So they see you and they start to form their opinions of you before you even say anything.
What does the body language tell you about the person you're interviewing? Like, what would you think of me? Like, when you see me, what would you think of the type of person that I am?
Yeah. Body language is extremely important, and it's just as important as how you look. Because, again, if I'm sitting back, like this, I'm more in a relaxed state. You don't really know if I'm interested or if I'm just trying to be cool. But me just moving back about 2 or 3 inches makes a big difference in people's perception.
Thank you for your time, Mr. Gaines. This is Omar Kaba, signing off.
See, depending on what you wear, it can determine whether or not you get the job, and it can also be how you act when you get the job.
But I'm always on Snapchat. I never knew it could get me fired.
Well, there's a time and place for everything. We'll be right back after parts 3 and 4 of our PSA series called Consequences.
That party was fun.
Yeah, it was fun. Excuse me, where you been?
A party.
You say you was leaving just for an hour. Look, you got bank responsibilities. Hey, I'm not here to clean your mess.
Wait, what you smoking at the party?
You was smoking at the party?
Like that.
You heard third hand smoking? Give me the baby. Go to your room.
How could I let this happen? I just stood by. I did nothing. Nothing to help. I could have saved him, but I was too late.
Ryan, have you ever thought about the hormones and foods that you eat on a daily?
No, food is just food to me. I never really think about the stuff that's in it.
Well, you should. There's a lot we don't know. This segment is near and dear to my heart. It's called What's Inside. It focuses on the hormones that are in the foods we eat on a daily.
I got some chicken from the carryout. You want to share it?
Sure. Why are those chicken wings so big?
It's probably the hormones in the chicken. I think they inject it with hormones so we can get bigger pieces.
Why would you want to eat that?
So what? It's bomb. You want to share it?
But I read this article and it said that kids in America are starting puberty much earlier, and girls are starting to go through puberty before the age of 8, and boys are starting to get more feminine bodies like growing breasts and hips because of the hormones in our food.
One is called RBST, okay, that's recombinant bovine serum growth hormone. It's a type of growth hormone, okay, somatotropin, and what it does is it makes them bigger. The problem with adding these, as you know, is that when they're added to the beef or the chicken, because they're present in chicken as well, those hormones travel along with the chicken. They can't be removed by or the beef. They can't be removed by cooking or frying or baking or grilling, so then you take them in. So these hormones become incorporated into the animal's tissues and then help the animal to grow faster. So it's not just estrogen, there's a whole series of these hormones that are used to help fatten cattle. And part of to be fair to the farmers, part of the reason why they want to fatten these cattle up in this way is people talk about wanting to eat a juicy steak or a juicy hamburger. So what does that mean? It has a lot of fat in it, okay? So naturally animals don't really have that kind of fat, but by giving them these hormones, you cause them to develop this fat. So, you know, when you put the steak on the grill, it sizzles and it smells really good. So to some extent, the farmers are responding to demand by the people who buy their products. Mm-hmm. So the evidence is that a lot of the increase or decrease in the age of girls going through puberty, a lot of it is driven by improved nutrition.
Nothing excites me anymore.
Some days I can't sleep.
Everyone lies to me.
What's wrong
with me?
These are all signs of depression. If you or someone you know faces depression, call the Prince George's County Hotline, 301-429-2185.
And I'm changing the game by bringing more to the table, and I'm getting everything I need to do and getting it done in a timely manner.
I'm Omar Kaba, and the way I'm going to be changing the game is by adding a sense of humor to what's going on and by dressing, well, nicely, professional, so to speak.
I'm Charlie Day, and I'm changing the game by adding creativity and positivity not only to the show, but to everything that I will do.